What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Steven. This is Steven in Stereo, and in today's video we finally start something. Well, I guess we've started it before, but we continue the dive then into Mcfly's discography. So we did Power to Play as soon as it came out. Amazing album, truly just like, oh, so perfect. But in doing that, we got to do the discography, right? We've done so much Mcfly content over the years that it just makes sense to dive into these albums, especially with how much I enjoyed Power to Play. So I used to do this thing where I would like do the newest album and work backwards. And that works sometimes, but I've been having a lot of fun just kind of like, even if I do the newest album, even just trying to like, you know, go back to the beginning and start. So we're doing that with Mcfly. We're going to start with Room on the Third Floor. So we're going back to January 1st of 2004. So 20 years of Room on the Third Floor. That's a big deal. So this seems like a really great time to celebrate. So before we get into today's video, I just want to plug my Patreon. I do a ton of exclusive content, but what's really cool is when it comes to these album reactions, I do them as full uncut album reactions / listening parties over on Patreon. And then on YouTube, you know, you get like a shorter version. A lot of the songs are chopped up for copyright and pacing and things like that. But I have over 100 albums on Patreon that you guys can check out with me. We do these listening parties. So Power to Play is already over there. And then all of these Mcfly videos are going to be over there as we continue to film them. I also have the Mcfly documentary. I have some busted content. I have just really cool stuff if you want to check it out. The only other thing I'm going to plug, I don't know if you guys know this, but I've dreamt of making music my entire life, and I didn't think that was possible for me. But I did recently release my own music. I make hip hop instrumentals. The goal being to collaborate with hip hop artists and release hip hop tracks. So if you guys want to check out any of my music, that'd be really cool. I'll put my YouTube channel down below. You guys can check it out. What's really cool about hip hop instrumentals too, is that if rappers aren't rapping on them, they're actually really great to listen to like study or like work out and stuff. So if you're not even you don't even want to hear any rap, but you want to check out the instrumentals, do it. I've been jamming them. I've been jamming my own shit. Okay. That's how I know that I like it, because I've been jamming it. But link's gonna be in the description. I also have a Instagram, Positive Steven Beats, if you guys want to check it out. But thank you guys for all of that, and just for the push. You know, like I feel like every video I've made, I've said, man, I wish I would have made music. And then every time someone's like, dude, just make music. Like, you have the ear for it, just do it. And I didn't know that was a dream that I could actually have, but fuck, it's just always such a banger, right? I think another thing that's going to be really fun too is like they've just come so far from this, but it's also fun to watch them perform this live, like even in newer stuff. But the evolution's just been incredible. Hey, who the hell is she? That weirdo with 5 colors in her hair. Oh my God. I love melodic pop punk like this. That surfer vibe is so real right there. Woo! You know, I'm such a fan again. Did you hear my voice? Like all of this, all of this together, like, come on, like this is exactly the fun kind of like pop punk that I love from the early 2000s. You'll hear me talk about it. There are like multiple versions, right? There are a little bit more of the underground bands. Those are the bands that weren't really like on the radio, but they were popular amongst like the music scene. And then you had like bands that became commercially successful in the vein of like Good Charlotte and stuff. But what I really love is there are some bands that kind of had this, if the Ramones were to meet like Ramones meets Descendants, and then like add in some more like pop groups, and you got this like very, how do you, like, what's the word I want to say? It's a very accessible sound, and it's a really great gateway into like punk rock. And I love it. It's innocent, it's fun, it's playful, which is everything that I love about Mcfly. So this song really just like solidifies that sound. Fucking classic. All right, obviously. Hopelessly reaching Dude, Tom's voice at this in this era. Because the thing is, like, he has that sound, right? Like, even today. But this was 20 years ago. Like, my man has grown up, you know? He can get like deeper ranges now. And at this time, like, hearing that pop punk, especially like a little bit more of like a head voice sound, you know, I always say like Tom reminds me of like Newfound Glory. Yes. Those bass runs, you know, Dougie's back there just. Damn. Really cool to hear, you know, especially going back, just hearing Danny's like rock vocals, where they're at now. It's just amazing to hear kind of like, not even a starting bass, but like kind of like an intro to it. Those harmonies kind of has like a gospel feel. Ooh. She's out in my hands and I never know where I stand. Damn. You know what's really cool too is even with a sound like this, it's one of my favorite genres, okay? But I also understand that with this genre, a lot of things can sound very similar. There's only a handful of chord progressions that are really happening in like the punk rock space, you know what I mean? And what I love though is that they really managed to make this very much their own sound. Though I could say Mcfly sounds like certain bands, I could also say Mcfly sounds like no other band, in the sense that there's something about where they experiment and where they add these different genres that not only do you like never really, like, you know, the energy you're going to get, but you never quite know the vibe Mcfly is going to give you in the music, because they have so much they can do, but you know it's going to be like so unapologetically their own sound. And I'm such a fan of being able to do that, again, especially in a space where there's not a lot of options to really like change things up too much. Yeah, Danny! There's like a couple of things that are really making me stoked right now. One, just revisiting some of these songs that are fucking so good. But the other thing too is the evolution that we are going to experience right now, going from this album, once we finish it, to each one. We're really going to be exploring kind of like not only their growth, but where they've sort of like, you know, taken directions, you know, maybe there's sounds I don't like, right? Like, I can't wait to kind of like get to go through all of this. The beauty of a discography. I think the hardest thing is doing singles, because you never really see the complete project, and you're, you know, typically for me, a reaction channel, I'm fucking checking out singles from like all these different eras all the time. So it's very confusing to see a timeline of a band, but I do feel like we're going to get that option here, because that's usually what the discography gives me. This is, oh, by the way, Room on the Third Floor. One bed is broken, next room is smoking. I will say the storytelling here is amazing. Like, we're not even trying to like fake it here. I'm telling you exactly what I am witnessing right now. And that kind of relatability is something I love in this genre. I must have left it on the floor. See, this right here, this whole storytelling thing from both of them is great. Even Danny right now, housekeeping's waking me up at 7:30. I had a do not disturb sign. It's obviously not even in the front of her mind to care, or did I even remember to put it on the, like, I just love that we are just recounting their lives of this day. Wait, is this song, it kind of feels to me like this is a song about staying humble. I don't know where they were at in their careers at this time. I don't know if they were songwriting for people yet, or really what was going on. But this whole descriptor, right? So maybe they're on tour, or maybe they're doing something big and they're staying in this hotel, but they want to party, but they're staying on the third floor, and Now they're on the, typically like you go to the higher up is usually where you go for fame, money, and also like the bars and like sky decks and everything are always kind of on the top, right? So be on the third floor, you're with everybody else, right? And it kind of feels like they're saying like, all this stuff, I'm guessing here, right? But it could be this idea of like, these are all things that we would have loved to even had the option to have an experience of. And now it's happening. And we almost find ourselves complaining about it rather than embracing it, keeping our feet on the ground and just stay level headed. This happens a lot, especially when you first get introduced to money or fame or anything. I mean, I don't think I have fame, but like even just a little bit, like I remember getting money for the first time and like, I didn't know what the fuck to do. And then you're thinking like, oh, like, is this enough? And then you're like, wait a minute, I used to dream to even make $1. And like, what do you mean? Is this enough? You know what? Like, it's just so interesting how you really have to like check yourself and be like, wait a minute, I know what my values are. Those need to stay here. It's just cool. And I could be totally wrong, but the perspective feels that way.
These remind me that I got to keep my feet on the ground.
There's so many like good harmonies in this album already. Just nice chanting moments.
That I got to keep my feet on the ground.
Oh yeah. Woo! I do think that I'm right about the meaning of the song. It feels to me like it's just kind of this you checking yourself. Listen, if you end up in situations where you got a little bit of fame, a little bit of notoriety, you got some money, whatever, that's great. Congratulations. You deserve it. Good. You never want it to sacrifice the things that are important to you or the values that you hold within yourself. So reminding yourself sometimes you're in the third floor, but like you're in the building. And sometimes you got to remind yourself there was a time when you wish you could be in the building and now you're on the third floor, and there's nothing wrong with dreaming and there's nothing wrong with wanting to continue to advance and get better. But you have to be doing it in a way that you never give up your values, because money comes, money goes, fame comes, fame goes, but you as a person, well, you will also go too. But while you are here, you want to at least have, be level-headed. Come on. Like, no one cares how much money you have if you make that like very apparent to everybody. Okay, this next track is That Girl. The composition of this song is so great. All like some of the really best elements of just like punk and surfer vibes coming to life. I remember the first time I heard the song, I felt the same way. I was like, God damn, they really just like grabbed onto the sound. I also don't know how old they were in this album, but I love the songwriting. I do. Like with this style, this is the kind of songwriting I want. I want easy lyricism. I want it to be fucking relatable, and I want to dance and sing. Nope. You think you know the words, right? That's what I'm saying. Like, this is just like all the punk rock vibes in the best way. I love that Mcfly figured out a way to like sound like they are straight out of California from all the way in the UK. Like, that's fucking awesome to me. I love that surfer vibe. And again, dude, that's amazing. How'd you get that girl? Like, that kind of songwriting. Again, I don't know how old they were at this time, but this is like based writing styles for this. And I fucking love that. That energy though. So I talk a lot about why I like Mcfly. And one of the things I like is this sort of youthful energy that they've carried about themselves into adulthood. And, this right here is kind of like what I mean. Like this style, it's like Blink-182. Yes, old Blink-182 is significantly more immature, but that doesn't mean that they haven't kept that. You know what I mean? So anytime I see this and I see bands that do this really cool, kind of style, and then they grow up and they keep putting out music, but they don't really change. That's fucking sick. I mean, the music changes a lot. Mcfly, significantly a better band than they were here. And this is great. This was big. This got them everything, like, to start. But like, obviously the musicianship has gotten better. They've grown up. They've become better vocalists. But that doesn't mean you can't go back and really fucking enjoy moments like this. Okay, this next track is Hypnotized. Oh yeah, that's Danny for sure. I couldn't, you know what? It's actually kind of hard to tell because Danny's voice has gotten so much like deeper and like thicker when he does that rock sound. That it's actually like, sometimes I'm like, well, I wonder if Dougie's popping in, you know what I mean? Cause like, this is the first era of Mcfly, at least full album. So for me, it's like, I'm going to have some trouble at first. Obviously I can always recognize Tom, and Danny's got those notes that you know it's him, but with Dougie kind of popping his head out a little bit, I don't really know. So yeah.
All the time. Why am I still paying for a phone with all the luxuries she owns? You're no longer mine.
Those harmonies right there. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Fight how hard I try. Goodbye to you. Wasting all my time.
So good. Fuck it. Wait a minute. Come on. That bass fill before the harmonica drops. So fucking sick. There's something I noticed about the vocals in this album in general, and that is they do kind of like have that chant come in, bring that harmony a little bit harder, and then keep it like offbeat just a little bit so that whenever the main vocal ends, you saw those harmonies kind of going. And that sounds so cool throughout this, especially with like, you know, the more like pop punk vocals, especially like Tom's parts. I feel like Tom's parts, when you have that backing sort of like, you know, deeper harmony, that very much gives like a lot of like to these, you know? Come on. It's fucking sick. Like, I think if you go back in time and you can look at your first album and it's got this much like fucking, like, not only does it have hits on it, like 5 Colors in Her Hair is a fucking hit. That is a banger, obviously is a fucking hit. It's a banger. But like when you have tracks like that coming off of your first album, like you are paving the way for your future. And what's even cooler is like, I'm looking at the amount of streams that are on these songs, and like almost every song is over 1 million except one. But the big hits at 47 million. The important thing here is that this came out before streaming. So like oftentimes when we're doing these discography dives where we're going to the very beginning, I do have to come back and kind of look sometimes and be like, oh yeah, I got to remember this came out before anyone had streaming. So what would those numbers have looked like if it dropped today? It's just very interesting. Music's come so far, and access to music is incredible now. But like it definitely throws off the statistics a little bit, right? But if you're putting out your first album and you got bangers like this, you got this kind of melody, I don't know what they had done in their career prior to this album, but damn, like that's a good run to start on. Woo! Fuck. I just like, you ever just want to like hang out with a band so much? Like, it's worse now that I'm going back into the discography, because now I'm like, fuck, man, we could have been such good friends. Like, I can just feel it. Like, I hear what they're singing about. I hear the vibe. This is what I grew up listening to. Like, y'all got to understand, I grew up on like the pop punk and the punk rocks and all of those things. And it's my love for pop music. One just starts at an early age, but it also starts because what I liked about these bands are the pop aspects. I really love catchy songwriting. I think if you can write a good melody like that, you should have all the riches, because that's all that people like me want to hear. I just want to hear really great melodies, and Mcfly always delivers. Okay, Saturday Night. I like this because it's giving like huge like Kiss vibes. There's a lot of like just rock and roll and Beach Boys worship. Come on, right there. This is like an ongoing theme, right? So sick. Woo! Everybody goes behind the garden shed to get laid. I mean, I'm down. Like you never want to just say, like, you want to be able to just like embrace these moments when you're having them, right? But like, I mean, like, sex is cool, but like, have you ever like gotten a tick? Like, that would fucking suck. The fucking Shreddington. Absolute Shreddington. That lead guitar is just fucking shredding this whole song. Fuck. You know, Danny was fucking stoked about this. I mean, that is such his sound right there. I like that there's a cool blend of rock and roll with a little bit of punk rock here. Gives me, again, it's like you got rock and roll, Kiss, and Beach Boys all kind of put into like one big cauldron there, and you came out with Mcfly's Saturday Night. And again, Danny must have had a great time with this because this is just his style. It's just written all over it. It's just perfect for that kind of vocal style. I love the harmonies throughout this. I love, again, those melodies. We're talking about a band that is just like not only are they giving us the punk rock jams, but like they're creating legacy right here. I think that's another thing that's really cool too. Like, Mcfly is a band that has legacy. They have been around a long time. There are people that have just like followed their entire careers, and like to know that, like, you know, album 1, you're putting out this, you know what I mean? Like, it's fucking cool. A lot of these songs we've actually seen live performances of just here and there. And I think that's another thing to remember too, is like on record, this genre sounds like it sounds. But live, this genre is where it really comes to life. I think Power to Play is a great example of that. Talk about a great fucking album. Sounds incredible. Absolute mosh worthy in your bedroom. But come on, we've seen the live videos. It's so much better live. And that is exactly what it means. And you know, this is kind of like a rant, but it's really not. As we're back on this album, you know, going to the first album, and we did Power to Play last. The big theme about Power to Play was just kind of the appreciation of musical instruments and creating that sound and creating that connection with people and the power that you can have with that. They talk the talk, and we're back on the first album, and they're fucking shredding. Like, the lead guitar in this is so good. All right, whatever. Okay, Met This Girl. Damn, that note Tom hits right there. We're laughing and joking with each other now. I'm glad I met this girl. She didn't walk away. Such a lovely name. I don't want my friends to see. They might take her away from me. Like, this is that kind of songwriting that I love. I love the idea that it's just this innocent thing. It reminds me of being a fucking like a preteen, becoming a teenager, hanging out with my friends, and like you meet this girl at school or at like the mall. Where did I used to go? I used to go to the skate park, but there weren't really a lot of girls ever there. I'm so stoked that that's different now, but like it wasn't a thing. But you would meet a girl and it would be like the coolest fucking thing. But then you're like, oh God, I hope my friends don't steal her from me. Like, I mean, you're a kid, right? You don't quite understand. That's not really how it works. But that's what I like about this, though. It's this sort of like, it's almost this innocent songwriting of like being a kid, which unfortunately, once you become an adult, you kind of lose a lot of the freedom of just being a kid, right? So songwriting like this always makes me super nostalgic because it just takes me back to being a teenager, and like, you know, life's really fucking easy. Well, you're going through a lot of weird shit, right? Okay, mental health sucks, but life feels a lot easier because you don't have like bills and job and stress and all those other things. You're kind of just existing, but you meet a girl and you're probably going to hit it off. Your biggest worry is that your friends are going to get her from you. I knew I'd figure that melody out. They do utilize these harmonies so much, and I'm such a fan. It adds really good depth to these songs. When she walks in the room, my heart goes boom. So, you know, maybe not the strongest lyricism from Mcfly, but at the same time, it's all about the delivery with this. You know what I mean? And I'll give it the delivery here. May not be the strongest lyricism I've heard from Mcfly, but it's catchy as fuck, which is exactly what they are good at. I imagine this song would probably hit even harder live. But again, even though like I don't think it's strong lyricism, the lyricism itself is exactly, like I said, it's fucking nostalgic, right? Like you just feel like you're young again, and like all that matters is whatever's going on just in this song, you know? Like I'm just trying to go behind the thing to get laid. I don't know. Like I'm just trying to fucking navigate life as a teenager. And that's what this song gives me vibes of so much. That is, not that this really matters because again, pre-streaming, that's the only song that doesn't have over 1 million streams, which is actually interesting because again, some of these songs are 47 million, but all the other ones are at least over 1 million. So interesting to point out to you. Okay, this next track is She Left Me. There's a huge 50s influence, like 50s rock, Elvis-esque type vibe kind of going on in here. It sounds awesome. I'm getting like, you know, like 50s, like I'm getting like a Righteous Brothers sound a little bit, like a little bit of Unchained Melody kind of going on here. Okay. Ooh. Damn. Hey, Tom's got range. I am excited to see kind of, I mean, I've heard like him do a lot, but I'm excited to see like how much more like confident he gets with these ranges as we keep going through the albums. Oh.
Really? Yeah, man, look.
What? It's great because it makes these ballads almost have like a gospel feel to them. Like that's it. Like Mcfly is just speaking gospel here. Come on. So many good riffs. Fuck. These vocal runs from Tom. Yes.
She's gone.
I always love a ballad from Mcfly because it is very different from the normal style from them. So when they do them, they always kind of go all in and they become very theatrical at times. Again, Tom, I don't know at this time if he was already doing it, but he does have that theatrical and musical side of him. And it's cool to hear that here in the lyrics or in the delivery of the vocals. I feel like this is one of the like really cool kind of like Tom vocal moments where he just puts a lot of emphasis on the emotion. He really like brings, again, the theatrics out, the drama of it all. Makes sense that he would also have a theater background to kind of like put it all together, because I feel like you get that throughout songs that Tom is really like the main focus on. Like he really drives it with the voice. I also, again, anytime Danny gives me that gravelly rasp, I'm here. And all through this, love a ballad from them. Again, giving me Righteous Brothers vibes, but like with that Mcfly twist, which I love so much. Okay, Down by the Lake.
Well, you better get home, catch your daddy's awake. Said he saw you last night, making out by the lake with a boy that he hates.
Again, the fucking relatable, just nostalgic fucking lyricism.
Pretty cute, but I don't got the grades in the star method. And the way I behave, we're better off when daddy's out of town.
Oh shit. I like this person. I'm going to hang out. We're going to have a great time. But your dad doesn't like me no matter what I do. I'm not going to ever be somebody he likes. So instead of trying to win him over, let's just hang out when he's not in town.
Oh, baby, you got nothing to prove. But
Also, I definitely was in a relationship where this happened. I don't think I actually like did anything. I think the guy just didn't like me. And so if you're watching this, sir, I hung out with your daughter down by the lake.
we can't
Yep.
afford the perfect wedding you want. Gotta do it abroad in a place you adore. So I gotta sign a plane to be with you.
Oh! Fuck. Come on, that's good production right there. And then the guitar comes back in.
What can I do to be with you?
Oh my God, they reversed into that. You know what that does? That does a lot of things. One, it just makes me fucking happy, so thank you. But also what it does is it really ramps up the guitar solo. Like, don't you feel when it comes in reverse, it makes it so much harder? I'm gonna give it to you one more time. That's what she said. Woo! Yep, that song right there is a fucking instant classic. Again, because of the era of this and because of wherever they were at in their lives, the songwriting is so appropriate for this time. And because of that, revisiting this is great because this song, Down by the Lake right here, fucking gives me memories. My fucking memory bank is just going right now for a lot of reasons. One, trying to win over the father is very difficult sometimes. And sometimes you're not going to win. I'm going to be honest with you. If I had a kid, if I had a daughter, I'd be like not stoked about the dudes that are probably trying to hang out with her because unfortunately, like a lot of dudes suck. And so I would probably just naturally hate you. And that's what Tom's dealing with right here. Like my man wants to hang out with this girl, but the dad doesn't like him and he's tried and he can't win. So instead, he's just going to go down by the lake. And also, been there. Done that. All right, unsaid things.
This girl that moved just up the road from me.
I will say that in keeping typical pop punk fashion, we are talking about girls a lot here.
This is just a memory. Now that 7 years have gone, and I've grown up, but she's moved on.
God damn.
Somehow I still wait up wondering if she will never be.
See, this is difficult. So again, more life experience, right? You meet somebody and you're totally infatuated with them. You think they're so cool, but maybe they have no interest in you, whatever, you don't know. So you never say anything. You never like take the leap. And what happens is like you get all these unsaid things in your head. You don't know if they care about you because maybe they were afraid. Maybe because you didn't take the step, they never felt like confident enough to reply back to you, right? And that's what, they're going through it right now. All this shit that they could have said that could have been in a different situation, but living in that fear, which is understandable. God, rejection hurts.
Beyonce so much bigger than me, 'cause he works out a lot. I still wait up wondering if she will remember me.
I like the clap right there. I like the claps, not the clap. I'm so stupid. What the fuck? Ugh.
For me to know.
It's an important ballad here. It is the anthem of not leaving things unsaid if it really means a lot to you. I don't know. It seems like a long time went on that he had all these feelings for somebody and then he didn't ever express that. And now time has gone on and he still misses this person because that love, was there and that attraction was there. And you kind of be like, you know what? I can't leave this stuff unsaid. I don't know how you're going to feel and I'm never going to know until I just tell you. yeah, you got to be brave sometimes, even if it sucks. Although I will say, like, if you got a really close friendship with somebody and like you're trying to go to the next level, be really like aware of what you're doing, because, you know, those unsaid things sometimes should stay unsaid so you don't, you know, end up in a toxic friendship thing. Okay, this is Surfer Babe.
Well, it's 4:04, we're hanging out at the pizza place.
I just love that. I already love all the surfing going on through this entire album. Like, I'm just so glad that that was a inspiration and something they really wanted to bring to this album. And I love that they just keep it true with Surfer Babe. I told you, Mcfly sounds like they're straight out of California.
Well, that's what I said when I left her in bed. I'm gonna get through this thing that I've been feeling for you. Don't
Okay, you know, the I don't think the lingo was there yet. We weren't really saying wave too much, you know, like catching that vibe or you on that wave. But can you imagine, like, that's my surfer babe. Come on, grab your board, come catch this wave. Like, can you imagine how good of a lyric that would have been? I guess that could be it in the chorus, I guess.
you're a surfer, babe.
Nope. See, wouldn't that be sick? Come on. So much love for rock and roll. You know what I love about that too is it really makes Power to Play that much more of an honest piece of work, because all that they're singing about, they did it on their first album. So 20 years ago, and then they put Power to Play out, and it's just this, it's the same. I mean, it's more intense, but like the instruments are the same. The push is the same. The energy is the same. The outcome is just different because the band is, they're a better band. It's been 20 years. I mean, this is all like classic. This goes down classic, right? But like, you know, comparing this to Power to Play is really difficult because those two albums sound so fucking different because of the musicianship, right? So I love getting to appreciate these things for what they were. I try to capture the time. Like, this album came out in 2004, so I'm going to try to judge it as much as I can based on 2004. Does that make any sense? Like, I feel like that has always been my approach to these dives. You know, I'll listen to something that sounds dated, but you have to remember, like, it sounds dated. Put myself in 2004. Let's listen to it from that perspective, because you're going to hear artists that are like pushing boundaries and stuff from those eras if you're just open-minded to it. So if I can give you any advice, if you're somebody who, like, you know, a little bit closed off to a certain kind of music or sound, or maybe you want to do a commentary channel or something, just be open-minded and, man, really, really try to dive into the time periods if you can. You can't always do it, okay? And there's some albums, it doesn't matter what time period you go to, it's not working for you. But I love to do it from that perspective, because I can talk about the new versions of these bands and where they're at and the new versions of these songs, but being able to just like embrace these moments where they're at, that's cool. Meet the albums where they're at. You know what I mean? Come on. Good palm muting right there. Hey! Yes! Okay. There we go. I knew it was coming. We had to have a play on a wave. Now, I personally thought that the writing of my version would, unfortunately, it's just a little bit more catching the vibe. It's something that I don't think people were really saying, again, in 2004. So if you want to come on, Surfer Babe, come catch this wave, meaning, you know, come be on my frequency, come be on my level. But I also like the idea of catching waves together. Although you could look at that as catch the waves with you. Like, I just want to catch vibes with you. Fuck. Their energy in these songs is really what just like brings them to life too. And then just the thoughts of all these versions live or like in a studio. That's what, like, oh man, you just know that they're having such a great time with these. And I think it's the fun of it all, right? Because like throughout this, even like talking about, you know, like losing relationships or not saying things to get these relationships or losing the girl is kind of like an ongoing thing kind of going on here. But like, even with that, even when the song feels like it's more sad, there's this energy that kind of feels it being uplifting. And that is what I love about pop punk energy, is that it actually makes you sort of okay with being sad because you just found a group that are also sad at the same time about something you're going through, and that's the power of music, which is why I fucking love it. Okay, Not Alone. Oh, so good. I've always kind of been a fan of like an acoustic guitar and an electric guitar at the same time, being able to hit two totally different wavelengths of emotion.
And my mind is growing weak.
It's so emo. It's giving me like a Hawthorne Heights. You know, because okay, well, Hawthorne Heights is one of the most amazing bands of all time. Just want to say that. Ohio is for Lovers has that guitar that is similar. Okay, whatever.
Every step
I really do make these videos just like a talk out loud. I literally don't say a word in my house unless I'm filming. So like, here I am. Damn. This is why I like this tempo right here, because there's so much room for Tom to just do this, you know? It's kind of interesting to me. I'll tell you in a second. I find it really interesting that for me, I feel myself like, I don't know if it's just because I'm used to the like pop punk sound, but I find myself really being drawn to some of the slower paced tracks on this, especially like these ballads. This in particular is so fucking good. I think that when you can set up this kind of emotion, again, that slow tempo, but make it feel big, that's exactly what this song does. And again, it's that space. Allow people within the beat to give really fun vocal runs. Like just, I mean, listen to Tom's vocal runs through this, right? Like he had the time, because we're going slow, to just fucking like hit these really cool notes and do all that shit that we love so much with his voice. And like, that shit really hits. But I think it hits really hard whenever like I've heard so many different styles from Mcfly, but I've always kind of like been like grabbed onto the more like fast-paced stuff or like the more rock sounding things. But then I hear tracks like this, which is very emo, by the way. Like that's probably why I like it. It's just fucking, it's emo coded everywhere. But I just love the approach that they have and the execution. They're just I feel like every time I talk about Mcfly, this happens. Like I run into like this brick wall because there's so much I want to talk about with this band, but like I will literally just fucking rant. It happens every time and it's not pretty. So I just, this is really good. Okay, this last track is Broccoli.
She said to me, she wasn't coming around, friends can't forget her. She keeps playing me around, but I try. She cares.
So I don't know if she actually even showed up, but it sounds to me like Tom is just trying to make dinner to impress this girl. And he even said like, she doesn't know that I'm a virgin in the kitchen because it's usually my mom that's doing the cooking, but I'm here trying to do the cooking to impress this girl that I like, even though she's kind of always playing me. And I can't tell from the lyrics if the girl even showed up to the dinner. Come on, he tried hard, man. He made the broccoli.
But that girl's so cruel. She keeps
God damn.
playing me around, but I'm trying so
You know what's interesting? Even with a track like this, the tempo makes it have almost a ballad kind of style to it. This isn't that fast paced sort of like pop punk that you're familiar with. It's a little bit slower paced. And I'm actually a fan of it because it allows them the space to tell the story, because like, that's the thing about like pop punk, like the sound is very important, but like at the end of the day, like the stories are what matters, because the feelings and the emotions that are being invoked is kind of what is going to draw everybody in. So for me, I find myself very much drawn into this because I want to hear what's going on. And I think that's a really good way of songwriting, because you make people want to listen to the whole song. Like these days, you got to get past that 30-second mark, right? To really even make a stream count. But like people weren't thinking about songwriting in that way back then. These days, that's how you write songs, which, I mean, it is what it is, right? Like, fucking algorithms suck, man. If you think about, the algorithm is going to be what determines how songs are written. And that is the case now, because in order for you to like get good engagement, you need you need people to like listen to the first 30 seconds. But what I love about a group like Mcfly is that even with a track like this, you're getting the whole listen from me, because one, I'm doing an album reaction, but two, because I want to know the story now. I want to know where the song's going to go. Damn, it just sounds so clean. So let's talk about this album, because, well, let's talk about the song really quick. First and foremost, like, come on. Like, that execution right there is Mcfly 101. Like, this is exactly what I expect from them. Relatable songwriting from a pop punk perspective, but with a theatrical ballad kind of style to it. It's my favorite from them. It works so well. This and Not Alone, two of my favorite songs on this whole fucking album. Like, that's incredible. This is that problem I have. Okay, let's talk about Mcfly. So this album came out when I was 13 years old. January 1st, 2004, I was 13. I was listening to a lot of punk rock at the time, like punk rock, like street punk, like Global Threat, The Virus, just bands like that. The Casualties, obviously, like they had their own drama, but so I was listening to a lot of that. But what's crazy is that like I was listening to all of that because I really loved the musicianship. I didn't really understand too much about what we were talking about. A lot of it was political. I was 13 years old, but I really loved the musicianship. Now, if I would have picked this album up, because I was also a fan of like Good Charlotte and stuff at that time, I would have been so into this album, because that songwriting aspect of it is so relatable to me as a young kid, like a teenager, like a young teenager who's starting to, you know, care a lot more about girls and going on dates, or like talking to girls and like flirting and stuff. Like, this was all kind of like happening around that time. So this album would be perfect for me. I don't know how old they were, but I imagine that even into your 20s, this is still like early 20s. This is still very relatable content. The thing that's interesting though, is that you can already tell that their songwriting was even more mature than they were at the time, because if you listen to songs like Not Alone, if you listen to songs like Room on the Third Floor, even though it may seem on a base level that these lyrics are kind of like, we're not going that deep, right? But like, think about the meaning of Room on the Third Floor, at least from my perspective of it. Like, that's really big songwriting, to be able to kind of like capture your time in a hotel or whatever it is, and actually like me understand you explaining about how you feel like you should be higher up, but you wanted to just be at this level at any point in your life, and there you are, and you need to keep your head on the ground and stay level. And like, that kind of writing is just fucking incredible. But I also love that it shares, you know, a track list with 5 Colors in Her Hair. That girl met this girl down by the lake, which is so fucking relatable. Unsaid Things. Like, there's so much on this album, and I think that, you know, I don't know what their first major single was. I don't know how many EPs came out before this album, but for a first album to have songs that people still talk about to this day, that's really important to do, and it's really gonna be the big push. I mean, regardless of how old this album is, and it's crazy, it's 2004, it ain't that fucking old, but it's 20 years, and in media, that's a long time, right? But like, sorry about that, but like even here, 5 Colors in Her Hair, 47 million streams as of right now. Like, that's fucking awesome. These songs, I have seen people comment them, I have seen people message me, ask them for them, Instagram, asking me to react to some of these songs. And it's so cool that after all this time, after all the Mcfly content that I've done, people still want to know about the first album. You know what I mean? Like, that's really cool to me. So in the inspiration for doing the album discography, I feel like Mcfly is one of those bands I know so much about it. I know so much about them that I know nothing almost, because what happens is like, I do a lot of singles, I do documentaries, I do live videos, I learn about them, I'm watching interviews, I'm doing all this shit, but like I hadn't done the discography. Whereas like One Direction was different. Like when I did the One Direction discography, I actually learned about One Direction because of Harry Styles, did Harry Styles music, enjoyed it, did One Direction's music, and then I might have done some of the other solo work first, and then I did One Direction's music, and it's like I had already watched so much shit about this group, and then I did the reaction, and I was like, wow, I actually understand a lot more of this now. And this is kind of the same way. These things I know about this group, these things that I have come to really appreciate and love, they are ever present throughout this album, and I think that only as we keep going through these discographies are we going to continue to unpack basically the lineage of Mcfly in real time, like doing this together, because everything that I know is just going to be my perspective going into the album, but I'm going to be introduced with a lot more like we are here. I didn't realize just how relatable this sort of like younger songwriting was going to be. And it's so cool that like Power to Play comes out and like that's all relatable for like now in life. So we're growing up with this band together on YouTube, and it's going to be fun. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this. Power to Play is a stronger album in my opinion. Like I don't really like, I guess it's hard to like give judgments on this because I haven't listened to all the albums yet, but if I'm gonna base it just on one that I've listened to, they're better now with Power to Play. Like they are a better band. They are better at their instruments. They are better vocalists. They are better at songwriting. They are truly veterans in this game now. So that album is so good sonically, and it's composed really well. Production's incredible. Everything's perfect for that album because that's where they are. So going back to a first album and getting to experience the growth to get to that point, it's a big deal. So yeah, if I'm putting these two side by side, Power to Play is a better album. However, this album has a lot of legacy to it. This album, with every first album, it is the start of something special. And I always try to preface these videos with that. Like, listening to a first album is truly the ignition of what's to come in that career. Like this is your jump start, right? And if you have a bad first album, it's really hard to like get people to want to pick up that second one. And this is in no way a bad album. Are you kidding me? This is fucking sick. Everything about it is so good for a debut. But their songwriting's better now. You know what I mean? So like we're going to a first album that truly like stamped their career and started everything. But we got so much to unpack. So I hope you guys are excited about it. Before I end this video, make sure you guys go check out Patreon. Links in the description. You can check out this entire video, which is like an hour and 23 minutes, hour and 24 minutes over on Patreon. The YouTube version is probably like 40 minutes less. It's usually a lot less because we cut a lot of the music out. So if you're interested in checking that out, links in the description. If you guys want to check it out, that'd be sick. Love you.